Deion couldn't win in Auburn? Did they offer him? Did Deion get offered?
At Auburn? No, I don't think so. Because I think if they did, I think Deion's there.
Could you imagine? We were talking about this, Chris. Could you imagine if you want to beat Nick Saban, sending Deion Sanders into the living rooms in the state of Alabama saying, come here?
Rich, I think the challenge...
Come on.
I think from what I've heard, there's basically two Deions. There is the Deion who you will see on social media. Mm-hmm. There is the Deion who will have a big presence. And then there's the Deion behind the scenes that you worked with at NFL Network. I think for some of the power brokers at the sport, not necessarily saying the athletic directors, but the power brokers at certain schools, and this is what I had heard on the Auburn side specifically, was there were some people who were uncomfortable with, when you get some of these people who are like almost like act like they're GMs of college programs, mm-hmm. they feel like they want to have some control and some influence. And with a lot of these coaches who they can go golf with or kind of get on the phone when they need to, I think they feel like they have a little bit of a control. Deion Sanders doesn't need to kiss their ring. Deion Sanders probably won't kiss their ring. And I think because of that, and also because, quite honestly, Hugh Freeze has coached in the SEC. They know he can win. By the way, you can talk about the players he got. He won with Bo Wallace, too. It wasn't like he was winning with... So
I hear you. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just saying... Here, I guess, just to sum it up, and then we'll move on to a couple more subjects here with Bruce Feldman. Deion may not kiss your ring, but what about him putting a ring on your finger? That's the ring we should be talking about.
If I was one of these schools, I would have gone after Deion Sanders and made a bigger pitch for him. Yeah. But there's a lot of I don't know if it's fair to use the term ignorance. There's just a lot of stupidity out there when people look and say, "Hey, this is what we want," or however we're gonna operate. And I think that's the stuff that they get twisted up in. Look, it'd be much different, I think, if Deion was at, if he was already at USF and he was doing what he's doing now, I think Deion's is an SEC head coach this winter.
I think it's crazy. It shouldn't matter where he's doing it. He's doing it, and he's showing how he can do it. So what is going on with Colorado? Did they offer him?
Yeah, they offered him. We reported on Saturday on our Big Noon Kickoff show that, yes, he has been offered. I was told he's given it legit consideration. Part of it, I think, is because maybe Colorado is the one Power 5 school that's really willing to buy in and say, hey, we're going to give you the keys and let's see what you can do. Yeah. Now, the part that I'm curious about is...
He also likes to go fishing.
Colorado is a tough job. It's the worst roster probably among all the Power 5 schools right now. They're going to have to do a lot of gymnastics to get kids into school as transfers, which is something they have not been able to do of late.
Right.
You have an AD who has, interviewed for some other things and I think has tried to get out of there. And you also don't know how stable Colorado's position is, like conference-wise. Are they going to be in the Pac-12? What's the Pac-12 going to look like, going forward without USC and UCLA? I think there's just a lot of question marks. I mean, if you told me USF, which is not that far from where he grew up, was going to, give him everything he needs, I think Deion Sanders would be capable of winning that conference in probably 2 years. I don't think Deion Sanders is winning the Pac-12 coming from Colorado in 2 years. I know he's not winning it next year because we know what USC's bringing back. Mm-hmm. And we know that like some of these other programs, Oregon, UCLA, Utah, they're much further along than certainly where Colorado is. To me, Colorado, it's like the rebuild. Jed Fish has done an excellent job at Arizona. They were horrific when he got there. They were pretty bad last year, but they've become respectable. With the portal, you can make some big gains, but man, this is a lot further to go. And, maybe he's, his son's really talented, but we saw what Caleb and Lincoln Riley have done, but they added a lot of transfers at USC. And USC, as bad as it was last year, was nowhere near as bad as Colorado is now.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.